Yuwala, Vicki Saunders, Naya Gunggari Na Nula Nugala, Yantalalu. Hi, I'm Vicki Saunders. I'm a Gunggari woman from southern central Queensland, and I have just said, I see you. I use that phrase to mean I see you, I see all of our ancestors. I see you and I acknowledge your existence, and may peace be within you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're talking, because it's the year of, it's the UN's Year of International Indigenous Languages, and this Lowitja Institute conference is an official event of that. So what does language mean to you at a personal level and professional?
So language, in both my professional and personal, it's my personal belief that we create our worlds with our words, and language shapes the way we see the world, what we pay attention to, how we interpret it. There's so many other people who've written about this. There's so much that I can bring into this, but on a personal level, language is critical. And many years ago, some of our aunties in Mitchell started teaching Gunggari language in the schools voluntarily. They've been chipping away for many decades. Auntie Irene Foster being one in particular, Auntie Lynette Nixon, have been chipping away for years, bringing language into the schools to keep it alive with the kids and to reconnect the kids. So for me, I'm inspired by the work that they've done over many years. And sorry, I'm leaving out others as well who've been involved in that movement. But we're very fortunate, and I believe they've won awards for some of this work. So for me, I come from a strong tradition where we focus on keeping our language alive as much as we can. And I've been told by my aunties to use language wherever, whenever we can. So, yeah, to keep it alive.
And do you find there are many places to do that?
Well, you have to make the spaces sometimes. And like in the research that I do, I insist on using language words to open up a space in the more research-oriented languages we have to use. So, for instance, I've introduced a word into a body of work that I'm doing at the moment, monitoring the wellbeing or measuring the wellbeing of Aboriginal children, right? Or Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander children. So I introduced some words to mean, Yimbaya Yarana Undanu. So those words open up a bit of space for me to talk to it in a whole other way, which means listening to the sounds of children's laughter. So in the data that I'm looking at and analysing and trying to create measurement frameworks around, I'm listening for the sounds of children's laughter in that data, not their unwellness, which is what we traditionally measure and count in this space. It's actually how do we count their wellness. But that's one example, yeah.
Fantastic. You also, you've got a soundscape installation here, which is just over there. It's showing a bit here at the conference, which is based on your research work, not about speaking, but about listening. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So, well, using some other language, I'll do a little bit of a detour around to answer that question.
Please.
So, there's some other. So 30 years ago, Auntie Lynette Nixon and others with Anne Eckerman and others wrote a book called Bin and Gunj. It's a practice. It's a book for Aboriginal mental health care in Queensland. It's one of the first textbooks that was made available to help with some of the workforce development stuff that was going on many years ago. And that Bin and Gunj means they hear but they don't listen. And it's the number. To me, it speaks volumes that. That's what you would call a book on Aboriginal mental health. They hear but they don't listen. And so a lot of my work is about listening, because that's the number one problem we have. There's been, in an Aboriginal space, there's been lots of work done and recommendations made and research done, but somehow we keep reinventing wheels every time, and it's just about not listening. So let me circle back to what your question was about. Sorry, the soundscape, the listening to country. The project that we're here to work with at Lowitja, to show at Lowitja, came from a whole other space, which was about some colleagues and I listening to each other, actually, and us listening to what the women in the prison were actually wanting from at that point in time. So my colleague, Dr. Sarah Woodlands, has been working in the prisons for many years, on theatre productions with women in the prison, and she was working with one of my aunties there, Dr. Ruth Hegarty, Annie Ruth Hegarty. They at the end of that project, which was about producing a radio play, which was about bringing the voices of women outside of the prison, when they were wrapping up that project, the women were asking for, because of the sounds of the prison that you're in, it creates a level of stress in its own way. And they were asking for a relaxation CD that's not a relaxation CD. They wanted a more culturally appropriate CD or a relaxation sound to have some, what we now call sonic or acoustic agency, because you have no control over sound. It intrudes on you, especially in a prison. I don't know if you spend any time in a prison, but it really does go through you. And it can make you feel insane after a while, because it's just... Yeah, so, and one of the other things that one of the women was talking to us about was, who'd been in prison for some time, was that she missed the sounds of nighttime. You don't realise the presence of those things until they're absent. Yeah, and what that means and what it does to you, to not have access to the sounds of nighttime, the peacefulness of nighttime, yeah. So that's what this project is about addressing. We're responding to what the women asked for, which is a relaxation CD. That's not a relaxation CD. It's transformed into an acoustic or a soundscape that they created. Because of the limitations of the technology, we had to create the soundscapes with them in a whole other way. But they wanted certain things recorded that are meaningful for them, meaningful for the elders that were working with us, who this wouldn't have been possible without. So that's what it's about. Yeah.
Fantastic, Vicki. Thank you very much.